Present.
Ellie Bookman,
Present.
Ann Wither,
Present.
Katie Zabrowski.
Present.
All right. So we do have quorum to start our meeting. Item number 2 on the agenda is, here, let me show you the agenda. I'm gonna go ahead and share. Again. So the first item will be approval of the agenda. And still that for this step, we need, all right. We are I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, our agenda has been approved. Our second item is approval of the previous minutes. Katrina, do you have those? I can stop sharing.
Were you guys waiting for me?
No,
Okay.
we're just on the second item, that is the approval of the previous agenda.
Can everyone see it?
Yes.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay. Did everybody get the previous agenda? And so we need a second motion to approve the agenda.
Oh, excuse me, I meant minutes. I'm so sorry. I make a motion to approve the minutes.
The minutes, yes.
I'll second.
Ellie Bookman,
All right, since we did get a copy of that, now I'm gonna go ahead and share our tonight's agenda. Okay. You guys need me to make it bigger. There you go. All right, our fourth item on the agenda is public comment. I don't think we have anyone in the from the public to make any comments. I'm gonna move to the fifth item is discussions. Items will be the Maryland Elementary's strategic plan. And I think Ms. Zabrowski sent us, emailed us today.
she did, because we finished working on the school-based strategy as part of it.
Okay. So Ms. Zabrowski, would you like to share? Would you like me to find it and share the strategic plan?
I would love it if you would share it. I don't have it pulled up. I didn't bring my work computer home.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Mm. Let me not get this right here. Okay.
Patricia, we're looking at your email box and not the strategic plan window.
Oh no. Here, let me do it again. What about there? Can you see it now?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
It's just when you switch really quickly. Okay, let's do maybe make it bigger. All right.
Start slideshow. Just so you guys know, Emily and Diane Jacoby were on the other line, and that's on the other call, which is probably why they're not on here yet. I keep waiting for Emily to show up so she can give you the update.
But we're able to continue the meeting, right?
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Okay. All right.
I just thought,
And
I was
Anne-
just saying that as you were adjusting, I thought if you hit start slideshow, it would make it fit to screen, but it doesn't.
Also,
I don't-
Anne wrote and said she'll probably be a little late
Yeah.
if something's come up.
All right.
And I
so
need to ask
Chris-
Diane, Ms. Campbell has been on leave, and so I don't know what that looks like in terms of, the number of meetings that you can miss. So, she's not working right now. And I know she was out at the last one too. But anyway, so this is good. If you could make it just a little bit bigger, because I don't know about you guys, but I can't see. I know what it says, but I can't see.
Okay.
Does it get any, is that as big as it gets?
Well, I can make it bigger and just go each part every time you talk about it. I can just move it
Yeah.
around. Okay.
Well,
Is
I'm
that-
gonna turn it over to Katie because she was the typer and we worked on it with the admin team. She can give you some, I will start by saying thank you to those of you who were able to stay. About a few weeks back, right before Thanksgiving, we met to do a work session, and at that work session, we talked about the school strategic priorities, and we built those as a Go team. Those were based on the APS strategic priorities and initiatives. Those are generally based on the APS 5. And you can see that in those first, the gray and the blue box encompasses the APS 5. And so after we did the school strategic priorities, the school was charged with doing the actual strategies that the school would do specifically to hit those strategic priorities. So I'm gonna give it to Katie. Go right on ahead, ma'am.
Oh, thank you. All right, so, so what we did was we sat down and thought about all the school strategic priorities that we came up with and how we can show that we're doing those things. So what does that look like really in the school and what we are doing to meet those priorities. So for number one, our school strategic priority is use data to inform instruction. And so one thing that we are really focusing on this year is holding monthly data digs. And that just looks like the administrative team, and that includes Ms. Benton and Ms. Briscoe, our instructional coaches, and myself heading into grade level meetings and looking at our data, looking at where kids are at, how we're grouping them in small groups, and being intentional about how we're grouping kids and what we are focusing on when they're in those small groups. So that's a monthly data dig. And number two in the school strategic priorities is adhere to the scope and sequence of the Georgia Standards of Excellence and supplement with other resources. So the state of Georgia gives a scope and sequence, as does Atlanta Public Schools, and we are charged with following that scope and sequence, and that's just in what order we teach specific standards. And so how we are meeting that goal is weekly lesson planning and internalization led by our instructional coaches. So our instructional coaches take the lead on planning with all grade levels and all teachers to make sure we are adhering to those Georgia Standards of Excellence And
I
we
would
also,
also just like to just take 1 second to give Lynn Ann Brennan a shout out. She's been holding it down as a coach on her own. And we are so excited to announce that Ms. Fuller will be back in the building from maternity leave next week. So we'll be back to our full staffing until our MTSS leaves us for a promotion. And that's Katie, who is Katie's. Go ahead, Katie.
all right. So building a culture of student support. We've got 3, 4, and 5 under that for the school strategic priorities. Create collaborative school culture that embraces diverse families that comprise the Maryland community. So we've created a new equity, diversity, and inclusion committee on our PTA to work on that. Number 4 is building teacher capacity to meet diverse social and academic needs. We provide equity and anti-bias training for all staff members, and that's not homeroom teachers, that's our whole entire staff. And then number 5 is provide unique learning opportunities to cultivate students' curiosity of learning. And so this is number 3 is just a list of all of the things that we do, things that are happening outside of the classrooms and inside of the classrooms. So you can just see that's a list of, many things: weekly STEM activities, science fair, science night, spelling bee, math family night, inclusive schools week, no place for hate week, red ribbon week, Black history celebrations, and Girls on the Run. We also have the LEAP after school activities and the Helen Ruffin Reading Bowl. So we just listed a few of those, extras that go on in the building.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
I'm curious, the new committee talking about being formed,
Mhm.
is there a reason it's in the PTA and not directly with the school? Because isn't the PTA like you have to pay to become a member for that?
Well, it's a nominal fee to be a member of the PTA, and we strive for 100% participation. We're very close to that, but you don't have to be a member of the PTA to benefit from this particular committee. So our executive board of PTA reached out to the state PTA to determine what all we would need in order to begin this committee that would affect change for the whole school, because the PTA is here to serve all of the students in the school, regardless of whether their parents are PTA members or not. And so it's being run by parent volunteers who were the ones that came up with the idea to do it, which I think is great, and it's in line with what Atlanta Public Schools is doing. I don't know if there are other PTAs in the district that have such a committee, but they'll be working directly with the school on any and every activity that they'll be doing. It's just starting right now. So I don't know if you know, I was about to say Lydia Berry. That's the daughter, and she's a middle schooler now. Charles Berry's mom, he's a 3rd grader. And then Melissa Hawkins, who has a 4th and 1st grader, will be the people that are newly formed committee who'll be working directly with the chairmen of the PTA. So it's for everybody. It's not just for PTA members.
Okay.
Okay.
Katrina, did that answer your question? Okay. Okay, so number 6 under equipping and empowering leaders and staff. So number 6 says equitably align our school resources with our mission and vision. We have three things under this category. Patricia, could you scroll up just a smidge on that?
So I am scrolling. Are you able to see that I'm scrolling?
No,
So I
That's
have been
okay.
scrolling the whole
Well,
time, but I
and
wonder.
maybe when I get down to the ones that I can't really see, you can share those if that's okay.
Maybe, hold on, let me just, okay. So on my end, I'm scrolling as you are talking, but I guess
Oh,
you can't
oh
see
no,
it.
perfect.
Yeah,
That's
that's
great.
good. Oh, that's good.
Yep, that's super wonderful. If you move it over to the right, just a smidgy. Perfect. Well, a little bit to the left. Okay, that's great.
Perfect.
Perfect. Thank you. So number one, our Maryland Foundation grants must be screened and approved by our foundation. They really take, the grants seriously and really look to see if it's benefiting and supporting our mission and vision.
I also screen them before they even get to the foundation to make sure that they're aligned with what we're doing. We can't have people just going to a dinosaur exhibit, even though it sounds like it's awesome and fun.
So number two, this is.
Hi, Miss Shabby.
Oh,
Hi, Livy. Where's my friend? Oh my goodness. Good
Can't see.
evening, young lady. I'll talk to you as soon as this is over, okay? Because I want to find out about your advent calendar.
oh wait.
We opened rubber.
I know. I can't wait to hear all about it.
All right, we'll talk with her afterwards, okay? Thank you. Okay, sorry. So number two, we've hired additional support staff with some of our budget money, and these people that we've hired are really, really important to the daily functioning of school. So we've hired a nurse, and hourly intervention teachers, and full-time substitutes. And the full-time substitutes may sound like a silly addition, but they are absolutely what keeps things going on a daily basis at school. Especially with COVID and all of the unknowns of work right now, it's really imperative to have all of these people. So we've really put in a good bit of money to the support staff at school. And then number three, we've provided professional learning opportunities to empower and equip teachers to work with our diverse population. I see a couple little spelling errors in there that I'm gonna have to fix, but I'll fix those because I wanted to just say it, to empower and equip teachers. And then number seven is creating a system of school support. And number seven is just the empowerment, to provide an environment that retains, empowers, motivates, and inspires teachers to utilize their individual strengths. What I really wanted to put in this little yellow box, but Miss Briscoe wouldn't let me, is just a picture of her. Because she is the person that does that on our staff. She empowers all of us to, take risks and do things that we don't know that we can do ourselves. And she has really been a game changer with those types of things, giving folks the opportunity to be important and to utilize their strengths to better our school. So there would be a picture of her there, but she wouldn't let me.
And listen, and this is from somebody who's getting ready to leave us because she got another promotion, and deservedly so.
I appreciate that. So number one, we have a system of accountability for school-based leaders. That includes our lead team that works closely with our administrative team that is in charge of their team and in charge of, taking information back and getting, feedback from their team and bringing it back to our core lead team. And then number two,
and they do get a stipend for that.
They do get a stipend for that.
So we really hold them accountable.
We do. And then number two, leadership and professional learning opportunities for all staff members based on their strengths. Ms. Briscoe does a lot of looking for folks to go and do professional learning opportunities that she thinks will better our school, but also better each teacher. We have a crew going to the Ron Clark Academy this Friday that is going out. They're all going for the first time. So she just
So
opens
see,
up.
what is the hype about? Is there anything that we can steal? I've never been, and I'm going. I'm really excited to see, to get out and just do some PD. It's been a long time.
You will
Slide down.
love it. You will love
Slide
it.
down.
I went.
Did
It's
you
a-
go? Did you go, Dorico?
Yeah, the school
Have
sent
you
me
been,
like
Anne?
5
Waiter?
years ago.
Wider?
I have not been, only because it's outrageously expensive, but I think it's worth it. You know, I think it's good that they're raising money for the school, but I did hear, I had a hot tip that you should wear pants so you can go down the slide. Because if you look all nice and you wear a dress, then you can't do the slide.
I got you. Well, guess what? We're going for free.
Oh.
Yes, Atlanta Public Schools hooked it up for us so that because it is very expensive, which may be why I have never been before too. Thank you for the tip. I plan on wearing like my Friday uniform of some version of fancy sweatpants.
All right. And that is what we have come up with for our school improvement plan.
Thank you, Katie.
Efficient.
I do want to
you.
just share that this is for the Go team to look at and provide feedback for and, comment on. And we can, obviously, we're not going to change anything about it this very minute, but if we can just collect feedback from the Go team, then we'll be able to make some changes before we present this to the community at large.
I have a question, just the system of accountability for school-based leaders. That seems a bit vague because I'm not familiar with it. What is the system of accountability?
So the people who are on who are serving in the capacity of leading their team, they have to be accountable and responsible for making sure that the information gets disseminated back and forth between lead team and the general population of teachers. And also what that does is gives the teachers the opportunity to have input on the front end. So before we make decisions, so we have our teacher leaders who go out and collect data and information and share, messages, data, information back and forth with each other. And they are, that's a part of their job responsibility that they are evaluated on.
And is this information, are we talking like more administrative, like what's going on in the school, or more of like professional development?
So like, I'll give you an example. So one of the things that we're doing right now that's in line with my ACEs presentation, I think that I talked to you guys about, how I had to go and present our data and share what our strategies are to combat any shortcomings that we may have, for example. So the lead team will be responsible for making sure that each person on their team has updated their data sheets that show student growth, that show subgroup information, that align students who are struggling with another support person to do check-ins with them. They're responsible for making sure that their team is on board to hold individual conferences with students based on their MAP data and things like that. So instead of just, announcing to Gen Pop, which is what we do, we also just make sure that a team member is accountable for making sure that those kinds of things happen. Same thing with their planning sessions, any deliverables that they have to do when they have to submit information to or feedback to the team about things that we want to do, even things like this right here. I may share this with the lead team and ask for strategies, they'll go back to their team. So it involves and includes everybody, and everybody has a voice, but the people who are in the leadership roles are the ones that are responsible for making sure that they're the liaison.
And that's one per grade, or is it multiple?
Yeah, so right now, our leadership team consists of a lead person per grade level. It's K through 5, and then specials and gifted and special education. And then we have just unique positions in the school for people like where there's only one, like a counselor, social worker, and the admin team. They're all part of the lead team.
Thank you, Ms. Frisco. Thank you, Mr. Brusky, too. All right, our 6th item is principal's report. The
Okay.
NCPS review.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I will tell you that one of the things we've been working on is trying to get all of these things aligned together. I did, since the last time we met, present my ACEs information. And in that presentation, and guess who got to go first of all the schools in Midtown and North Atlanta, right? And so what you did is you stood before the district leadership and shared with them our data. At the time, it was just the first administration of the MAP testing. We are currently in round 2 testing. And so based on my presentation, we talked about these same strategies that I just shared with you about making sure that we have data collected on each individual student, how they're performing, and if they're, are they, have they been referred to SST? Are these students receiving special education services? Are they receiving EIP services? What about students who are not in gifted, but also are doing great? What are we doing to differentiate instruction to push those students? So this tool is about a starting conversation and holding teachers accountable for what they're doing with each individual student. And so right now we're in the process of the second iteration of administration of the test. And so what we will be doing as soon as we return from the holiday break is looking to see which students made growth and which students made have better achievement, right? Because there are 2 different things. We want to measure whether or not you are hitting the bar, whether or not you're moving from where you started. And they're equally important, but with the CCRPI, growth is weighted more heavily than achievement. And that keeps schools like ours that have kids that come in and they're already doing great. It still holds our teachers accountable for moving those students, right? So we'll be beginning to analyze that data with our teachers, and it feels really good to be back on track and doing these kinds of things, because for a while we were just kind of stuck in the COVID rut and just trying to make it day by day. So we'll be working on that, and that's what's happening school-wide. We have, so that also just, as the principal's report, just so that you all are aware of the things that are happening, we're working on doing a building facelift. And so I have been working with a parent who serves on the foundation to talk about some exterior upgrades. And we have also applied for a grant and have some interior upgrades that are coming about. And then the last thing is really, we're just excited to be on our countdown for the holiday. We are planning on resuming our breakfast tradition on Friday, the 17th, as well as our holiday party. It's going to be outside though, but in and out. That's basically we are cooking with gas. School is going on. So anybody have any questions, I'm happy to answer. Oh, let me just also just update you really quickly on what we just met about. What we just met about was the signature programming. As everybody on here knows already, that we no longer have an accrediting body to choose college and career readiness as our signature theme. And so we were just getting some background information and knowledge about the other two existing signature programs in the Atlanta Public Schools. One of them is IB, and the other one is STEM or STEAM. And so there was a lot of conversation about that and then like what the timeline will look like. And each school has a Go Team member who's on the Midtown Cluster Advisory. Ours is Emily Coates on, and she probably was like, I've been on the Zoom for 2 hours and I got to go make my kids some dinner. So that might be why she's not on here, but she is our representative, and I feel very confident that she has a lot of good input and will help represent what she thinks is in the best interest of our school. But it's definitely something that will be brought to the broader community. And then lastly, the hot button item being the 4-5 Academy. There is coming up, there's going to be a session. I know that we had to vote the other day on what time and place we would prefer to have the next community meeting. So that will be coming up soon. And then there will also be a meeting that is just for the teachers of the elementary feeder schools to talk about, to give their input and things like that. Last thing in terms of input, I will be putting out our parent survey coming up soon. And this is where the parents have the opportunity to say what they do and don't like about our school. And it is a part of our CCRPI score. It's what gives us our climate rating. So I'm hoping that our parents are pleased with what we've been doing, so that we get at least a 4 out of 5 star. We like 5, but 4 out of 5 we'll take it. And then you all have the opportunity to vote on the next calendar series. It's the calendar from 2022 to 2025. That survey is out now. I know it's been out to the community. To the school-based community. I don't know if it's been out to the actual communities. Have you, Anne, or Coleman? Well, Coleman or Katrina, have you all gotten any information asking about that? I know, Coleman, you have as an employee, but as a parent?
No, I don't think.
Nothing that invites you to go ahead and.
No, I see the one for the small group discussion for the 4-5 right now.
Mm-hmm. No, well, so this one is, I'm talking about a survey for the calendar, just to determine what the first day of school will be, what the holidays will be, that kind of stuff. Have y'all gotten that yet?
Yes, I saw that somewhere.
I haven't seen it.
Cares that much about. I just send my kids when you guys tell me to. But yes, that is out, and I'm aware of it. Yes.
Okay, I'll make sure that if it is open, I thought it was open to the public, and it should be across all clusters. That I'll make sure that it gets into the Rocket Blast, because there are wildly varying calendars. One starts on August 22nd and ends on June 1st. Which is what I'm used to. I'm used to start ending on like June 15th and starting in September as a child. And then there are other ones that like start on August 1st and have weeks off during, there's a week in October, a week in November, a week in February, so different calendars.
Wow.
Really this wild variety.
Yeah, I just found it, that Monday, July 25th as an option. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, no, I
Thank
don't
you.
like that one. Y'all, please don't pick that. No, I honestly, I shouldn't say that. This is being recorded. Choose whatever you like. But one of the options, yes, is a July start date.
I was just about to ask if teachers have a preference, or if you guys have a preference on calendar.
I think that for teachers that we all also vary according to what our schedules are and who has kids and what people do. I'm just happen to be a person who has a family from the Northeast, and I like to have my August is the big vacation month that I miss. So what do you think, Jerika?
Well, I think as a teacher, what I notice on the breaks that we have just 3 days, or sometimes we have Thursday, Friday. I mean, we have children already missing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday because they take the whole week. I think I will appreciate a week in the fall and a week in the winter. Almost like break, like you can feel everybody needs the break. Like we had to wait until Thanksgiving and we barely made it. It's just like a long, yeah. So I would prefer to have a week in the fall and weekend and just start a little. It's the same start time. It's just ending a little later.
Yeah, well, one of them also has, so one's a July start, one is August 1st, which is a Monday, one's August 4th, which is a Thursday to start, so there's just some differences. Now, what I also heard but did not quite pick up is that some of those calendars have a variation in the Thanksgiving break. We're currently used to the week off, but I think in some of those, they don't give you the full week. Which a lot of schools in other regions of the country don't have the week off for Thanksgiving. They get Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Thursday, Friday. We've been very blessed to have that. So any other questions for me? Principal's report?
I just have one. I was wondering, have they said when the vote on the 4-5 is going to be?
So initially I thought that they were going to be presenting it to the board in December. Now, there's a new board. I don't know. I think that that's going to be part of the conversation in the small group meeting next week. That's what I would imagine.
Okay.
I have one quick question about the ACEs. Are you going to be able to release that for parents to look at?
I don't know. I can't imagine why we wouldn't, because, there's nothing to hide in it. I do have an ACES follow-up meeting with the person who's going to help me guide me through making sure that we follow up with our plans. And I have that on Monday, the 13th, and I can ask her.
Thank you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Briscoe.
Sure.
I think you cover number 1, milestones results. Is there anything else you need to tell us about that?
I'm not really sure why that is on there.
It was just mentioned in, I think, Diane's email of things to cover if we haven't already. So I threw it in there.
Okay. Yeah. So our milestones results, as everybody knows, we're definitely, they didn't quote count, for our CCRPI scores. Schools didn't receive those, particularly because there were so many schools that had so few students actually being assessed. But I think we hit on that before. Our scores were similar, in line with our sister schools, and, to be expected. There were some slight dips, but we did go through all of the actual scores, where we were in comparison with the other schools. We've done that before as a Go team and as a staff. So.
Correct. All right. Thank you. So you covered midterm cluster program already. Are there any future agenda items?
Well, our next meeting is in January, right? Is that the budget meeting?
January 19th.
Well, I certainly hope it is. The thing about the budget, just to be clear with everybody about what's happening, is that the budget is going to be very contingent on what happens next, right? So when we determine a timeline for the signature programming, that will affect the budget. Okay, so if we, for example, if we chose IAB as a school, we have to have a person who serves in the capacity of as the IB, I don't know what they call that, the leadership position for that is just, my mind is drawing a blank for it. But there are different, there's trainings that occur. And so all of those kinds of things will be affected in the budget. Another thing, and it, you know, we do know that they said that they were going to be pushing back the decision on what, regardless of what happens with 4-5 until 2022-23. That will also have a significant impact on the budget, not for this coming year, but for the next year, because of if we're going to be losing, approximately 200 students, then we're going to be losing the dollars that are associated with those 200 students. So it will be interesting to see how we reconfigure our staff and our dollars to make it work for us, because we want to be able to maintain specials who are full-time in the building. And, you know, we currently have a full-time counselor, we have a full-time MTSS, and, you know, will those things be, will we be able to pay for those things? Then, then finally, you know, we've been receiving a lot of CARES Act money, and that has really been instrumental in helping us meet, you know, make ends meet and be in excess so that we can afford to do things like hire additional positions. And so when that money dries up, what will that look like in terms of having full-time para, pros, and special education, having full-time nurse and things like that. So I'm hoping that the budget comes out sooner than later. And I do believe that that's what we'll be talking about in January.
Okay. Are there any other announcements? Okay. So our item number 8 is public comment. Do we have anyone from the public? And our item number 9 is to adjourn the meeting.
Can I just say this? I do want to kind of get a date or a timeline together for when we want to get feedback from the Go team regarding our plan that we presented today, so that we can get it in front of the larger community. So can we say that by the next time we meet in January, if there's, or maybe like right before we leave for the holiday or right after we leave, just pick a date or time for people to give us feedback so that we can make sure that we share that. And again, you know, this particular plan is a 3 to 5 year plan.
And we want feedback, just like emailing feedback?
Yeah, just email the feedback. Just, you know, are there things, you know, like for example, when Katrina asked the question about what is accountability mean, maybe there's some language or wording that we might need to change. You know, it's not the responsibility of the Go team to come up with the daily strategies that happen at the school level, but they can certainly provide feedback on it so that we can make it clear for everybody else.
And will you submit this then to like parents for them to review?
No, it won't be for parents to review, but it will be for parents to see, right? So we will share that with the larger community, but it'll be the work of what the Go team has approved. Parents won't also then get to, I mean, they can comment to us, but it's not like, you know, I'm sure that people comment on the board policies all the time. It doesn't necessarily mean that it will change what our strategies are, but it would certainly appreciate the feedback.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the feedback will have to go straight to you, Ms. Briscoe.
Eric can just be circulated amongst the group.
Do you want to say until December 17th?
We could even say if our meeting's not till January 19th, we could even say when we return, like the week that last, what is that Monday before? I think we come back on the 3rd, which is Monday, so we could say like the 10th, which would give us 9 days to make any corrections or changes or add or subtract anything from it.
Okay. So January 10th will be the
deadline.
Feedback for feedback. And the next meeting will be on the 19th, but the February meeting will be just 2 weeks after.
Yeah, so what happens is that when we get the budget, I present it to you guys, and I've already worked on it. You know, I will have already marked it up and give you my proposal. Then we meet in January to talk about it, and then on February we come back for the board, for the Go team to approve it. We picked those dates. I just want to make sure that you know that they may be subject to change, because if I don't have, if I don't get the budget in order to manipulate it, I won't be able to present it to you on the 19th. But we always do a second meeting so that you're not like put on the spot for responding. But again, this is not something that you all have to sit and hash out with me. I present to the Go team what I plan on doing with our money. So like I can tell you when I first started as the principal at Maryland, we talked about, we had 2 full-time PE teachers. Okay. And we determined based on what our strategic plan said, what was our priority, we were able to have a PE teacher and a PE para, which saved us like $40,000 to be able to buy something else. So that's kind of an example of things that, that are like big changes. You don't have to make that decision. It's not about the individual people. It's about the positions that we need to make this thing keep going. So as soon as I get it, I'll be working on it. Okay.
So I'm gonna adjourn the meeting. The meeting stands adjourned.
I think you have to get a motion.
It says no need for motion to adjourn. All right. I need a motion to
adjourn.
I'll second.
I make the motion.
Okay. So our meeting stands adjourned. The time is 7:12, and the next meeting will be January 19th. At 6.
Awesome.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Katie.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Katie,
Yes,
come and get in my Zoom.